Hello and welcome to the Denver Astrology Podcast. My name is Bren. I use they, them pronouns. I'm here with some fabulous folks.
I'm Zane, he, him pronouns.
Rose, they, them.
Awesome. And today we're going to give you some supplemental astrological information. We're going to be talking about moon signs and just the moon in general, how the moon is not just your emotions, and also stelliums and some misinterpretations, I guess, of how people see stellium. So we'll get into it. We're going to start with the moon signs. Do you want to open things up about the moon, how it's not just your emotions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely an emphasis that the moon should have. It's your emotional well-being, but it's not the whole picture by any means, shape, or form. It's very much like your physical body, your fortune, your intuition. I actually say...
Mom?
Your mom. Yeah, your mom. Or your parents, or mother figures in your life, caregivers in your life. It can symbolize so many things, not just your emotions.
Yeah. People, when they start asking about astrology, they say, like, what's your sun sign, what's your moon sign, what's your rising, your big three? And, like, the moon in that regard is only, like, your emotions. But I think it's really important to open the door a little bit and talk about, like, what else the moon can mean. Yes, it's your emotions, but, like, for me, more importantly, it really just shows, like, how you can be a vessel and, like, how you can, like, hold the space around you. And everyone does that differently dependent on their moon sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially if you're, like, a night chart, for example, and you're ruled by the moon, you're going to have, like, a lot more lunar intuition than, say, a solar chart.
Well, and lunar intuition also is different depending on the sign that it's in.
Yeah.
So if it's in a fire sign, it might be a more fiery intuition rather than like an earthly, more practical intuition.
I always say that your sun sign is your instincts, like your, like it's almost like nature versus nurture, and then your moon sign is like your intuition.
Yeah. One way that I always see, like, your moon pop up is it's the way that you reflect light. So if I'm speaking, that's my sun sign coming out. That's my sun energy. But when I talk to Rose, what's bounced back is their moon. That's the way I see it. Oh. And I see this come up a lot in synastry because, like, if I have a Gemini moon, someone who, I don't know, has, like, a Capricorn sun, I might not reflect their light as well as somebody else because that's an inconjunct, those two placements. Whereas you find, like, a full moon synastry, so, like, Pisces moon talking to a Virgo sun, that relationship's going to be really bounced back and forth.
So that's really interesting that you're talking about that, because that can be, I know the sun in, like, the actual universe is the one that reflects, but could that also be other planets as well? So maybe you and I don't connect with our sun and moon sign, but my Mercury can communicate with your moon. So then it's not as much of a reflection, but is it still, like, how would you explain that kind of reflection?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a reflection because there's no light bouncing back and forth. I think that is a good relationship. Like, two planets could have good relationship, like the moon and Mercury. Maybe in that scenario, someone has a good mental understanding of another person's emotion. But when you talk about, like, the energy flow back and forth in the, like, awakening, or how do I say this? Like, in a conversation, we can feel that energy. It's present. It's right here. I see that very much in, like, moon, sun relationships.
Yeah.
I find that in synastry charts, a lot of times I look for phase relationship pairings. So, like, if somebody's a waxing moon dating a waxing moon, I'll say that you're more inclined to, like, emotionally feel the same ways, which isn't always necessarily good depending on where your moon is placed and how you're processing those emotions. But also just, like, how you reflect to that other person. Are you, like, in sync or are you in opposition? So if you have, like, a full moon baby dating, like, a new moon baby, you're probably not gonna, like, connect on that level of, like, your embodiment. Sorry, you have a cat hair on your shirt.
Thank you.
Do you remember that, like, viral, like, thing that was going on with the moon signs?
I have a video currently on TikTok that is, like, millions of views deep because I'm sitting there saying you don't want to complete the moon, you want to find your same phase.
Oh, okay.
And why is that?
Yeah.
I mean, just like I was saying, you know, you're more, like, inclined to feel like, I'm a first quarter baby moon. I find that with third quarter moons, we butt heads a lot and in the ways in which we express our bodily needs to each other. And that's not to say that it's not difficult, it can't work out, things like that. It's just, I mean, with most things, like, if you have a morning star Venus and a morning star Mars, and you're dating an evening star Venus and an evening star Mars, there's just going to be some sort of fundamental disconnect between you guys. When it's with the moon, that fundamental disconnect is a lot more, like, mutable, easy to, like, move through just because the moon's transits are so quick. But I feel like, I don't know, it's just some sort of fundamental disconnect when you have, like, opposing phases of the moon.
When it comes to, I know we're talking more on, like, the moon here, but we keep bringing up synastry. When you're doing synastry, do you believe, like, still in opposites attract? Like, it's good to have, like, those two different energies, or is it still important to have, like, the same in that regard?
Moises actually said it really well during our astrological panel. The way that he was describing, like, inconjuncts as better than, like, direct oppositions. Because, like, those inconjuncts, it's like when you pairs two people together that fucking hate each other, but they produce, like, the best work possible, versus, like, that direct opposition. I feel like in a relationship sense, yeah, the direct opposition is probably a little bit easier to, like, understand and, like, be a part of. But I think inconjuncts do create, like, the best couples because they, like, complete each other, you know?
That's fair. Yeah.
Well, and it depends on so many other things in the chart as well. It depends on the sign and the moon phase, and, like, how are other planets even interacting with that moon as well? Like, it's so much bigger. There's so many factors that go into it. So don't be making assumptions like, oh, me and my partner don't have the same moon sign, we're doomed. It's
right.
Like, no, it's bigger than that.
Yeah. Many layers and levels to synastry in the moon. But like we had said, a lot of people think the moon is just simply your emotions, point blank, period. What are some other indications that the moon can give you? Or not indications, but, like, symbolism.
I love looking at the moon when people ask about money things. I know that that's very much like a Venusian, a Jupiterian, like, where do you find luck and stuff, but I feel like the moon is like, what are your physical, like, what do you physically, tangibly own? Like, what are you physically able to obtain in your life?
Well, it's also your body, right? The moon. So, like, what also, like, when we're thinking about things that we own or need, it's like food and shelter, things like that protect our bodies. And so one of us depending on the moon sign that we have and the sign that it's in, we might have different needs too, like, especially when it comes to money or nutrients, for example. Maybe the nutrients that I need is different from either one of you because of the moon sign.
Yeah, there is a lot of truth to the moon representing emotions. I think a lot of people need to take a step deeper and say, like, your moon sign represents what you need emotionally or how you process them. They're not just simply your emotions. One time before I started giving readings, like, professionally, I had met with a couple professional astrologers, and one of them really pointed out my 4th house moon and they said, like, the way you recharge is through, like, being at home. Make sure that everything's tidy. I have a Gemini moon, so everything has its place. Don't be cluttered. They had mentioned journaling and reading. That's another way that I can tap into that emotional side. My Gemini moon doesn't just represent my emotions, but my needs and how I can tap into those emotions.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also feel like the moon has its housing joy in the 3rd house of your daily routines, of your, like, immediate learning, of your one-on-one connection. I feel like your moon also signifies your development in early adolescence. I feel like your moon sign is a little bit more prevalent in your youth, regardless if you're a day or a night chart. And then you grow a little bit more into your sun sign.
I completely agree with you, because I feel like the rising sign is that, like, the child, the inner child, and then the moon's like that angsty teen. You know,
yeah.
It's grown a little bit, but you're still figuring your inner self out, and you're really figuring out who you are. And then as you get into adult, like 30s, 40s, that's when you can really embody your sun sign.
You think it's the 30s and 40s that you really... Is it the same across most people, or is that just, like, in general?
I think it's just a quick generalization, because when you think about it, your chart isn't fully functioning the moment you're born. You know, your chart, just like a flower, it grows. And so there are a lot of strengths in a chart that you probably won't see until, like, you're a full, like, grown adult. And, you know, that time range can be, for, like, different for anybody. But to me, just thinking about it, I just feel like it's anywhere from, like, late 20s, 30s, maybe 40s. I feel like that late 40s could be really when the full chart is complete.
That's so interesting.
When you get your Uranus opposition?
Your Uranus opposition? Oh.
Well, that's like 42 to 45, depending. So
interesting. Yeah. Well, no, I was also just thinking about the progressed sun as well, because, like, my sun my natal sun's at 2 degrees, so it only recently progressed into the next sign, which is Aries. So I wonder too, just like what you were saying, like things progressing over time, like maybe you also come into your sun more when it also like can mature out of even that sign. It like graduates from that sign. It's in a new sign, but it's got the full lesson of that original sign.
Yeah, my progressed sun just went into Scorpio 2 years ago.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Cool. How do you feel different? Do you feel that shift?
I did feel the shift. I haven't really been leaning into Scorpio powers because it's only at like the 1st degree right now. Since I'm 20. Yeah.
Maybe 2 degrees if it was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Because I'm a 6 degree Libra sun, so it went into Scorpio when I was 24 or 25. So now it's at 2 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, mine just progressed into Aries, and I've been feeling it the last year. For sure. It's a lot different than Pisces, let me tell you.
For sure.
Yeah, anything else in regards to how it's different than just like your emotions? Because I think that like just to clarify like what we've been talking about too, like yes, the kind of like what you were saying, like it is our emotions, but it's our needs that then influence our emotions. It's like so much more than just I'm feeling this way. I'm an Aries moon, so I'm angry. It's like, no, it's because like I'm frustrated because I don't have my independence. That's what I need as a Aries moon. So if I don't have that, that's what then explains the emotion. What moon sign were you born under? Or like a square, right?
No, it's right before.
It's right before a
full square. Well, I'm right after the full moon.
4th and 8th.
So it's a waning gibbous?
Yeah. Yes.
But it's like right before the
square.
Wanings. Yeah, okay.
So,
interesting. We all have different
moon phases.
Yeah. So another thing that the moon can represent is like the mother. In astrology, there are definitely a lot of different ways you can find the mother in the chart, whether that's the moon, the 4th house, or I think those are the only two. What other ways would you?
I mean, 10th and 4th, yeah. Houses. It really depends on like also like who the mother figure was. Like was the mother figure more domineering than the father? If there's even like 2 parents in the household, because sometimes the moon can also signify the father.
I'm a classic astrologer. I say 3rd and 9th is mother and father because it's goddess and god.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely subjective, and there's definitely like on
There's
top
so
of
many
everything that we've
Wow.
already discussed.
Yeah.
On top of that, like if I was really trying to like pinpoint and like find if it wasn't showing up in the 4th house, it wasn't showing up in the moon, XYZ.
Yeah.
My favorite thing though is Capricorn moons. I love their sense of humor. They're so like dark and like it's like anti-jokes almost. It's like, why did little Susie drop her ice cream cone? She got hit by a bus. You know? And I'm like, that's a Capricorn moon right there. But I also feel like they have a lot of mommy problems more often than not. And I'm not trying. It's just because the luminary is in its detriment. It does not like being in a Saturnian ruled sign by any means, shape, or form.
It's really interesting though that moon in Capricorn is like at its detriment because every Capricorn moon that I've met, they're like so loud and vibrant. It's like obviously the moon is shining very loudly in that area.
A planet in its detriment does not mean that that person is negatively influencing those things, you know?
Well, yeah.
It's just that it's just maybe because they're so bubbly and so fun because they don't have that like emotional security within themselves. Because they don't have that like emotional attunement of what's right or wrong. They're just like, nothing matters, might as well just enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it really depends on where the moon is in the chart, because moon can also talk about other people. Yes, it's talking about us, but if it's in the 1st house, it's very obviously about us. But if the moon's in your 11th house, you know, that's about your friends and like the people that you want to be around or your hopes and dreams. It's bigger than,
Whichever house the moon is in, to me, it says that like this is where you find the most like emotional depth. So like you said, the 11th house, you probably for that person, they probably feel the most like present in the moment, like in their emotion around other people in society, in those 11th house themes.
No.
You don't agree with that?
No. I as an 11th house moon, no, I fucking hate crowds of people. I hate being seen. I hate being recognized. Honestly, more often than not, when people tell me, oh, you're doing such a good job, I'm so proud of you, I'm like, you're lying to me.
Ooh.
You're pitied me, actually, and you're just, like, lying. You don't actually believe that.
But do you think there are other things in your chart that
for sure.
take
for
away?
Fucking sure.
Because, like, everything we're saying, obviously, everything that we're saying about, like, a placement in a house it can obviously be overshadowed or changed by other things within the chart. So yes, like what I had said about the 11th house moon, it's not for everybody, but like there are probably people out there who do resonate with that. Because
Well, and I would argue too with you, Rosalie, you have a really powerful online presence. So yes, maybe you don't like the attention, things like that, but like you showing up, especially as a Sagittarius moon, as the teacher, like that's something that's very 11th house.
You love making those infographics.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah. It's
And 11th house as technology too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and Aquarius, obviously. But let's talk about stelliums, because I went to Norwalk this year and had a presentation from Bear River who was talking about stelliums and how, like, a lot of people think they have stelliums when they actually don't, because it really only counts as, like, the personal planets. Has to be 4 or more planets, and a lot of people don't actually qualify for that. Something that he also said that I really resonated with was that it's just a constant... it is a concentration of energy, but maybe this is my own argument that I actually want to make, which is
That's
like...
fine, go for it.
anytime there's a or like a concentration of energy in one house, I say this all the time, but like you have to look at the other like sister sign or like the opposite house to get balance within that one house. So
yeah.
Bear River had like a Leo stellium in the second house of finances, but he had to like really work on like figuring out not only to make money for himself, but how to share it. He was talking about debts and like things like that. So
8th housey Libra things.
Exactly.
Or Aquarius things.
Well, what's interesting though is when you have a stellium, you do have to take in consideration like transits or planets in all the other houses. Because like let's say if you have a Leo stellium, anytime you're going through a Scorpio transit, it's going to be squaring every single one of those planets as it goes through Scorpio.
Real quick, for those of you who are unaware, a stellium is a one... okay, I guess there's 2 different definitions. I'm going to talk about the traditional definition, which is a buildup of 3 or more personal planets in a sign. Personal planets being the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Mars, or Venus. That is it. That is it. So if you have, for example, Jupiter, the Ascendant, Pluto, all in the first house, that's not a stellium.
Right.
That's maybe a modern stellium, because modern astrology is like 2 or more of anything. It's... You can physically not have more than 2 stelliums in your entire chart because there's only 5 personal planets and you need 3 or more. So it's
and then,
physically
well,
impossible.
4 or more with some standards.
Yeah, some
depending.
standards.
Depending.
So
like
like
Jupiter and Saturn, those are your social planets, and then the 3 after that are your outer planets, and then things like the midheaven and the ascendant, those are more like mathematical points rather than like a planet.
I would say that the ascendant would qualify, but that's just my personal 2 cents.
Okay.
Because it's like a really prominent angle point.
I would agree, but just by the definition you gave, though,
I know,
it would be disqualified.
it would be disqualified for sure. But
Well, at the end of the day, this is just practical knowledge. Like, it doesn't really matter if a stellium is a stellium or not. Like, if you have a lot of planets in one house, that's still gonna be profound in some kind of way.
But stop fucking calling it a stellium when it's not a fucking stellium. Please. No. Words have meanings for a fucking reason.
That's very Scorpio. Mercury just entered Scorpio.
Yeah, didn't you just talk about people nitpicking words?
Yeah,
You know?
that's
No,
so
I'm kidding.
perfect. It's so
But
perfect.
yeah, I think it's really important to understand where this stellium or concentration of planets is in your chart. Yes, focus and understand that area of your chart, but also take in consideration the squaring signs, the trining signs. Because anytime these places get activated, it's going to really activate every single one of those planets in your stellium.
I have such a good example.
Okay.
Okay, Mac Miller has a huge stellium. He has Mercury, Sun, and Mars all in his 12th house of Capricorn, right? He dated, famously, Ariana Grande for the longest time, who has Cancer placements. He had so much struggle finding those Cancerian energies within himself that he literally had to find it in another person, which is another example of just, if you find that it's hard to find that sister sign energy to, like, go to that opposition, to, like, really embody whatever you don't have, like, an abundance of energy in, you can maybe try to find another person that has a stellium in Cancer, for example. I think it's just her ascendant and her Mercury, but it's like directly opposing.
And that's a really powerful, energy.
Yeah. Because with her Mercury being in his 12th house, it's like she is saying and giving light to vocally the things he can't understand.
I don't remember their charts off the top of my head, so I'm so sorry if that's actually inaccurate. But I know that she has prominent Cancer placements.
Well, and it brings in like a bunch of different life areas too. So when you have a stellium in a house, it not only is talking about that house, but also all the planets or all the houses that the planets in that house are also ruling. So.
I have sick brain, so I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, I did a video about her, and she has ascendant Neptune and Uranus all conjunct in Capricorn. Yes.
Uranus and Neptune are often conjunct in Capricorn for anybody born in the late 80s into early 90s. Mid 90s. Yeah. So that's like a very common.
It was exact though, which was crazy.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
I always say that that's like a big like awareness of the abuse of power on a broader social scale.
Ooh.
I'm gonna look up her chart.
Someone asked me a question about stelliums a couple months ago during our like astrology meetups, and the way that I described it, when you're going through a transit, it's really interesting to understand your stellium because like go chronologically through the sign. What planets do you see? Because if it's like speaking on traditional stellium, if it's like Mercury, then Mars, then Venus, then your sun, the story is going to be like you get information, you don't like it, maybe you go through some healing, and then after that everything comes to light. You really need to understand the story that's being told through that sign via the order of the planets.
Oh my gosh.
And
that's so great.
Every stellium is created equally. Not every stellium has a placement in each decan of the sign or each bound of the sign. So I actually gave a decan presentation a while ago, and I was finding people, like celebrities, with stelliums in each of the signs. And it was really hard to find people that had stelliums, but also had like a different placement in each different decan. So sometimes, say for example, it's like early Virgo. You have all of your planets in those first 10 degrees of Virgo. You're not going to be able to embody those middle and last decades of Virgo as well as you are impatiently impatient. Impatiently
so
patient.
That could be like an extra strength though of them, like with that first decan, if they can really master those planets and energies.
I think it is a weakness, if anything.
Why is that?
Because you're not seeing the whole picture of the sign. You're just focused on one part of the energy. Instead of like understanding that like, yes, you have to be patient in order to understand the gross, disgusting process of how to do something, in order to realize what needs to stay and what is no longer serving you. Whatever. Well, I mean, it's going to be subjective per the signs, but that's like Virgo land's story, I guess.
Another thing too that's really important about stelliums is finding the ruler of your stellium, especially if it's not already in that stack of planets in the stellium.
So Max stellium is ruled by his Saturn in the first house.
Oh.
So Sun, Mars, and Mercury all in the 12th house here in Capricorn, with North Node, Uranus, and Neptune also as well, being ruled by a Saturn in the first.
So how would you interpret that?
He was fucking depressed.
Fair. Well, because
he had a lot of hidden enemies though too. So like TLDR, he had like a whole like TV show that was like Mac and his crew living up in the house. All of those people fucked him over.
Oh wow.
Every single one of them fucked him over for money.
Well, were any of what were those planets too? Were any of those like friendship?
Well,
and, like, family?
Jupiter is in fall in Virgo, actually, in a nice little trine to all of that, going retrograde. So, or in detriment, not fall. So
Well,
I feel like that was a lot of it too. This is in Placidus, but that's his 8th house in whole sign house. So because of that, I feel like it's just like a lot of debts, a lot of like other people expected him. Like he has a song called 100 Grand, right? 100 Grandkids. And he talks a lot about it. I made a promise to my mama I'd bless her with some grandkids. She could spoil them, you know, like with like all of this money that I'm getting. Like I'm going to buy her a house. I'm going to do all these things. People didn't like that he wanted to spend money on him and himself. They're like, hey, we're your crew. Like, buy me things. Get me out of debt.
Yeah.
And he would do that, and then his friends would fuck him over.
Hate to see it.
Well, 12th house stellium, hidden enemies. You know, being ruled by that Saturn in the first house, you created those hidden enemies.
So, building on what you're saying, though, like, I don't know, if you have a Pisces stellium, and it's Mercury, Mars, the moon, and the sun, well, you really need to understand where Jupiter is, because first of all, Jupiter is not a part of that stellium.
It's the ruler of Pisces.
The ruler of Pisces, yes. And is your Jupiter in Gemini? Well, that's going to give a much different flavor of what's going on within that stellium compared to someone who has Jupiter in like Leo.
Yeah, I will say he does have, like, the ruler of his stellium in its domicile. Mm-hmm. So, like, yes, he was also at the same time that Capricorn was working for him. Like, he was a little white boy from Pittsburgh. Like, nobody fucking wanted to, like, give him a shot. But he paid homage to the oldies. He paid homage to all of the famous rappers that came before him. And that's what gave him, like, street cred.
Mm-hmm. Well, just thinking of, like, the ruler of a 12th house stellium in the first, it's like he had all these 12th house themes that was actively on his mind, but he probably couldn't figure it out. I mean, I don't know what was going on through his head, but that's how I would interpret it.
Well, he was drugs. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, he was his own enemy as well, because in order to cope with all of that stuff, he, succumbed to drugs.
Yeah. No, did he ever go into rehab?
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah. Well, and he was a workaholic too, right, with that 6th house. Because again, when we're talking about stelliums, we have to look at both the axis. So yes, it's that 12th house, but it's also the 6th house.
Yep, he overworked himself constantly. That was a big contention point between him and Ariana Grande during their relationship and what made them on and off again for so long. And he had much more, like, prominent relationships before Ariana Grande. I'm just speaking of the most public figure that we know of because we know most about their relationship. Mm-hmm. But no, it's been a point of contention for forever. He would lock himself in his basement recording booth for days and days, just making music. Yeah. And he would get so lost and so engrossed in it. But that's a really great point, is looking at that 6th house.
Yeah, that's why his health was deteriorating, is because those 6th house energies were not taken care of. And also, again, we're talking about the 1st house too. The ruler of the 12th house is in the 1st house of self in your body. It's like his subconscious was directly influencing who he was. And like, it's also like Saturnian, which is also someone, like, often with responsibility, someone like also maybe who wants to take care of people or feels like a duty towards something outside of himself. Do y'all have a stellium?
No.
If you include the ascendant, I do have a stellium. I have a 1st house stellium.
Because you have Venus, Moon, and Mars. Or Venus, Moon, and ascendant.
Right, yeah. And they're all within 7 degrees of each other.
I would have a stellium if you included, like, the outer planets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. Yeah.
If you included, Saturn, then I would also have a Pisces.
Because I have Chiron, Mars, Pluto, and the midheaven in the 10th.
Do you find that you get a lot of stellium clients? Or how would you approach a stellium client, I guess, therefore?
Well, I do transit work, so I would really see if any transits, upcoming, would affect that stellium. Because, like, if somebody has the Sagittarius stellium, and upcoming there are a lot of things going on in Scorpio, well, that's not really going to be affecting them, but then, of course, all those things happening in Sagittarius would affect them. You know what I mean? That would be a lot of conjunctions. Like, if Jupiter was coming through Sagittarius for them, well, I would point out the day that it would hit the 1st planet, and then the 2nd planet, and then the 3rd, and kind of talk to them about how that journey might be for them. One time, I met somebody who had literally all placements in Taurus. All of them, except for, like, the 3 outer planets.
I have a little baby Cancer stellium.
Yeah.
They have everything, and it's in the
Rising
1st house, too.
Oh, my gosh.
So, with them...
Taurus 1st house, too?
Yes, because when I met them, this was when Jupiter was about to go into Taurus, and I was like, let me talk to you real fast. And so I just point out the days of, like, each day being hit by Jupiter, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I work with stelliums. I don't really see them too often, but yeah.
Can I just share something super funny? So I have this one client who I will remain anonymous, but they have a Cancer sun, right? And before I started reading their astrology chart, they made so many videos hating on Geminis. Guess who has a Gemini stellium?
They do?
They have their Moon, Mercury, and Mars all in Gemini, yeah. And
which I have an explanation why some people might not like their own signs, because they have so much of it in themselves that, like, anything else is overwhelming. It's not that they think it's bad or whatever. It's just like, okay, I feel like that with some Aries sometimes. I'm like, okay, you're just like 2 Aries for me. Like, I'm the Aries here, okay?
Two Aries in a room.
Like, literally, it's too loud. But that's why the balance is really nice. That's why we might attract the opposite more. Like, that Cancer person might really like Capricorns, because it's like, please ground my water, please. Give me some structure there.
I find that they are honestly more attached to Sagittarians.
Oh, really? And
because
what
it's
house?
the opposite of their stellium. They're a 10th house Cancer Sun, so that's what 3rd house Sag.
Yeah.
Okay. So this person was not a Cancer stellium?
Cancer
No,
Sun.
they're a Gemini stellium.
Oh.
They're a Cancer Sun who's like, I hate Geminis.
Then that makes sense. That would make perfect
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
I feel like it's ironic though for because you said they have a Gemini Mars. It's like hating yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Trust me, we've talked about
Yeah.
it. They're going through their Sun in return right now, and Jupiter's transiting over their Sun, and they're really like rethinking their career path to go from like one subset into like the same niche, but like producing it as opposed to like being involved in it. And I think that it really like ties into a lot of like what their chart is like telling them to do. But that's besides the point. My last, I guess, question about stelliums, I guess, would be if you could pick a stellium to move any of your placements into, what would you make your chart be a
Oh,
stellium
dear.
into?
10th house Capricorn, everything. Put everything there. I don't give a shit. Let me just detach from everything. I'm very Pisces. I'm very Aries. I'm just like, please, just let me be. I'll be boss.
That's so
I don't know. I mean, I really wouldn't. I would actually really hate that. I would definitely not do that at all. But I would.
I don't know. Well, I'm trying to think of what I would keep the same. I'd probably keep my Pisces rising and then just move my 8th house planets into my 10th, which is Sagittarius.
So you would be 10th
Yeah.
houser too.
Yeah, but then I would also move my Jupiter, which I know isn't included in the stelliums, but I would include it up there as well because then my Pisces rising would be ruled by Jupiter in domicile in the 10th. So that would be mine.
You'd be working it. But then you'd have to spend a lot of time at home, right? 4th house, balance things out. 10th, 4th.
Yeah, I mean, with my moon in the 4th, I feel like I already do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of my personal planets are in domicile, so I will leave them exactly where they are. If anything, I will move my sun backwards a little bit into my 7th to be in Leo.
I don't think I have any domicile now that I'm thinking about it. No.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I have some detriments in there. I have some falls.
Me too.
Yeah. What? So you wouldn't pick any stellium if you had to?
I kind of have a Virgo stellium because my North Node is there with my Sun and my Mercury. But again, North Node is not like a point of contention. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I just need like one more planet in there. But the thing is that I would need to like shove like my Venus, but I like my Venus in Libra or my Mars, but I like my Mars in Scorpio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's hard.
one thing to say though, and this is no hate to anybody who has a stellium, if you do have one, that doesn't make you like automatically the coolest person ever. No,
Thank
a
you.
lot of people come
Thank
to me
you.
and be like, "Oh, I have a stellium."
I have a stellium.
And I'm like, "Congrats! Let's explain what that means." But also, there are a lot of other really cool placements that you can have. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, also,
So-
if you're so concentrated in one house, you lose balance. So
I have sometimes people comment on some of my videos that are like, I have 3 stelliums, and I kind of just want to like take them by the shoulders and like throw them off of a bridge.
I can't remember what I read. It was like an old like traditional text, but I thought the sun and moon couldn't be involved in the stellium.
oh,
'Cause it-
That is some traditional
'Cause they're
astrologers,
luminaries.
yeah, because
so
they're
that
luminaries.
would only be Mercury, Mars, and Venus then.
Yeah, and I
That's
think,
the
but do they
only way?
include Saturn and Jupiter?
I think they do at
Yeah.
that point.
Oh.
So they do include the other 7 visible planets. So there's different definitions of it, yes, but it's still physically impossible to have more than like 2 stelliums max, and that's if you have all of your personal planets in 2 separate signs.
Right.
You know.
Because people probably also include like all of their asteroids, and it's like, well, if you include like even the asteroids and the nodes and all of these things,
Then we
you
all
have-
have
Everyone-
stelliums.
yeah, everyone has like 4 stelliums.
And it was not emphasized in traditional astrology. Let's make that so fucking clear right now.
Ooh.
This was not emphasized as like, oh, you have a stellium, you're so special. No. It was like, oh, you have a stellium, you're fucked. Let's look at the opposition, you know? Like,
Yeah. Newsflash: if you have a stellium, you suck. No, I'm kidding.
It's just a lot of energy in one house. It's like then
Yeah.
bringing in energies from all these other houses into that house, and it's like if one area of your life is affected, then it might ripple into all these other areas.
Yeah.
So it might be just messier. It depends.
My advice, if you have a stellium, look into what sign it is, what sign and house, learn how that area of life has been really affecting you in like the grand scheme of things. Also look at the ruler of the stellium, because that will also give you some really good context of what that means to you.
And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, death threats about anything that we've been talking about, we all are professional astrologers who have our own little like ways in which you can reach us. So you can find me at astrorosalie.com. My scheduling system is currently down. You can just email me.
Yes. And you can find me at fortuneofthefool.com or at fortuneofthefool on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. You can find me at Neville Astrology, and you can find all these links down in the description below.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you guys for
Yeah, of
joining
course.
us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.